Today I want to show you how to upgrade your bullet list from a simple slide like that to an animated set of slides that seem to magically appear behind this colored layer like a childhood viewer toy. And then at the end, you can reveal your 5 for your summary. I'll show you how to do all of this on Keynote for iPad. So here we have Keynote open on our iPad, and we have that slide with our bullet points. So what we're doing is taking what we were going to start with and improving it into that presentation I just showed you. So let's zoom in. We'll go down to the bottom here, and we're going to add a new slide. Just a blank slide will work here, but to make it all work the way we want the look to be, we're going to go into the background and choose gradient. Then we're going to change this to a black to gray. So we'll go into start color, we'll go to this 4th gray from the right, go back, end color, choose the very last black at that top row. Our last slide is actually going to use this, but the slide we're going to use for most of our presentation needs to have another layer on top of it. We can tap on this slide and go over and choose duplicate. Go back to that first one. We're going to go up here to the top and add a shape. We'll add a rectangle. If you know the dimensions of your presentation, this can be a shortcut. You can go over here to arrange and tap on size, your width and height. We know ours is 1920 by 1080. And so once we do that, now we can just simply grab our shape, use the alignment guidance to pull it into place, and it perfectly covers our screen. As you saw in the demo, we want this to be colored with a gradient. So we'll go over here to style, go to fill, choose gradient like we did the background. We want it to be that red inspired by the child's toy. And so we're going to use this bright red here for the top, go back, end color, choose a darker red here for the bottom. Now, if you notice in the demo, there was a window that we could see through. We're going to use a little trick that works with the magic of Keynote here. So we're going to add another shape, this time a rounded rectangle. We'll drag this over here to the side, and then we'll click on this right little blue circle and make it the width we want. And then we will drag the whole shape until that line appears, guiding us that it's centered. Now we want to make it larger from top to bottom, our height, so we'll drag it up. Now we'll also center this. There's a little green circle here in the top left that adjusts the corner radius. We'll click on that and drag that just to about 64. Here's the trick. Right now we have a black rounded rectangle on top of this gradient red rectangle. If we have this selected and also tap on the rectangle, then we can go over here to arrange, and it has these combined shapes option at the bottom. This one over here shows the 2 rectangles overlapping and there's a hole in the middle. Anytime your shapes overlap, it will cut that piece out. So we'll click on it, and now you can see we can view into the background of the screen. To add a little more depth to this, we'll go to style and we'll tap on shadow, and we'll go to the second one here. So now there's a little bit more of a look there inside our screen. For our presentation, we're going to have a title slide, 5 points, just like our original bullet list, and a conclusion. And then we're going to end up revealing all 5 of those on a final review slide. So we need 8 slides total. Slide number 8, the final slide, is here and ready to go with just the gradient. We'll get to that at the very end. But we need 7 slides instead of 1 that are like this. So if we tap on it, it gives us the option to duplicate. You can also copy and paste. Duplicate combines it into one step. We tap on one slide, hold our finger there, and tap on the other. Now we can duplicate both of those. Now we have 4. If we go over here and tap on one slide, hold our finger, tap on a second and a third, now we can duplicate those 3. We have our 7 main slides, plus our 8th one for the final. Now we're ready to go and start putting our text into here. So we'll tap back on that first slide. We have our bullet lists here. We need to get this all ready to go. We're going to be using, it's called Magic Move, along with one text box to create this animation where it seems to be sliding up and down our viewing area in between slides. Let's leave that original slide there. My tip is always when you're working with something to keep the original in case you need to go back to it. And so we'll use that trick where we duplicate, and we'll do our work on this slide. We have this text box at the top here. We want to bring this into this box. You have 5 points that are very important for your audience, but all the text that appears after that main point is more for you as the presenter than it is for your audience. So we're going to use these in a different way. Let's look at this and remember that 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, those are our 5 bullet points. So if we go in here to 1, if we tap in here and highlight that text, then we can go ahead and we can cut it. Remember, if we mess up, we have that first one that we're not changing here. We've cut it out of this slide. We're going to go down to our first point. And if you go to the top of your screen, there's this little icon. Tap on it and choose Show Presenter Notes. Now at the bottom, you can tap down here and choose Paste. And now those notes are in what's called the presenter notes. When you give your presentation, you actually can use a presenter control window on your iPad for you to see these notes while the audience just sees your slide. We're going to repeat and do this for each of our 5 points, cutting out the notes that are just for me, the presenter, and pasting them in the presenter notes for each of our slides in order. Now looking at our list, we have our 5 bullet points. If for some reason you cut these out and your bullet points don't appear this way again, just go back up to your master list here. You can pull them off of this place. So what we're going to do is clean this up a little bit first. We'll get rid of these colons. Now we want to add the title to this text box. So we'll go up here, triple click selects the whole thing, and we will actually cut. Now we can tap on the text box again and delete it. Go down here in this text box, hold the space bar key down. It treats your cursor like a mouse. You can go to the very beginning, hit return, go back up here, hit delete to take out that bullet point. And now you can go over here to the left side of your screen to this paste icon and it puts your title in. For our presentation, we're actually okay if the title and the points look really similar. So we're going to tap in our text box here and we're going to choose select all, go to format with the paintbrush. And now this time we are going to make these all line up size wise. You can see our spacing from top to bottom isn't quite lined up. So we're going to go down here to line spacing. We're going to adjust this to 1. We're going to get rid of this before, but you can just double tap in there and hit 0. So go to our text box and do select all. We just want to make this white for our text because it's going to appear on that dark gradient background. Now we're done with this slide, but we need to take this text box into one of our red covered slides. So we'll tap on it. So the whole thing is selected. Choose cut. Go down here and choose paste anywhere on the screen. Now we can go back up and delete that slide we don't need anymore. And this is actually going to slide up and down our screen behind that window. So what we're going to do is look at this and go, okay, will this whole thing show up in here? I like to have it ending where that curve starts. So then go tap on this little blue circle and drag it in. Now bring your text box over and line it up. So from left to right, it's centered. And then bring it down. Start with your longest point. So we'll do point 3 here. We want this to have enough space so that nothing else shows in the window except that one. So go over here to line spacing after and increase that until you have space above and below your text where nothing else is going to be seen in that window except that text. And you have a little bit more margin above and below as you move through. We'll go ahead and make this one 100. We'll drag this into place. That's how it would look. There's some space above and below. I might even want to make that one a little bit larger. Again, it's up to you. So now for our first slide, we want our title. So again, centered, title's right there. And then we want to go to arrange. And you can drag this slider from front to back. We want to bring this to the very back underneath the window. So that's all that appears there. Tap on the text box, choose copy, go to your next slide, tap, and choose paste. Make sure it's centered from left to right. Drag it up to where your first point is visible. Then again, go to arrange and drag it to the back. We're going to repeat this for each of our 5 points. And then I'll see you on the next to the last slide. We want it to appear like all those points are sliding down back to the title again. So same thing we did before, we'll paste it. This time, just that title slide is there. So we'll send it to the back. First slide again, tap on it. And while holding that one down, if you tap on all the rest of the slides, except for the very last red one, it will select all of them at the same time. And you give the option for a transition. This window is going to pop up. Go to the bottom where it says add transition and choose magic move. That's the magic we're looking for, but it's a little slow. So tap on your screen. If this warning comes up, just click cancel. We've already made our duplicate. We don't have to do that now. Then go back down here and tap on this and we can change the settings. 2 seconds is way too slow for us. I always recommend 0.7. We'll just drag this slider over to the left until we get 0.7. You can go up here and click preview and see that it moves through as if you were sliding behind the screen. So we'll click done. Now if we demo this on our iPad, we can step through our slides and see that it seems to magically slide behind that viewing window and show up. And then for our next to the last slide, They all slide down, reviewing that top number 1 title. How about our actual last slide? To give us more room to work, we're going to go in here and hide our presenter notes. Tap on the very last slide. For this one, we're going to do a couple different things. So we're going to go to the slide here, tap on that text box, copy it, go to that last slide, and paste. But now we need all these to show up on one slide. So we'll slide it up here, go to Format. We're going to make this top alignment. Then we're going to go into our line spacing that we increased before, and we're going to decrease this one. You not only want to shrink it enough where they all fit on the screen, but with a little bit of margin, top and bottom. So we're going to choose 14. We'll drag this one down to the center. And for this one, so it's not too overwhelming, we're going to shrink the size a little bit. We're going to bring this one down to about 84. That'll allow us to center it and have some more margin top and bottom. That also means we can go back in here and increase our after up to 20. And again, drag this and center it, just all a matter of preference. Now, similar to before, we're going to go in here and add a shape, this time a rectangle again, and we are going to do arrange, and we're doing the trick with the size where we know we can just type in 1920 by 1080, drag that shape onto the screen. This one is going to be styled white when we're all done, but for right now, we're going to make it green just so that it stands out. And remember, it's a work in progress. Then go down here to the opacity and slide this over so where you can see the text below it. Now, go up here at top again. We're going to use that rounded rectangle we used for the window before. We'll drag this over the title, stretch it the width-wise, bring the opacity down so we can see the text underneath. So again, we want to cover it, centered, room from top to bottom. We can adjust this a little bit if you want to make it shorter or taller. We're going to tap on it, go over on this arrow. We'll choose copy, let's tap on the slide, and we'll choose paste. We'll bring this one to our longest bullet point, whatever has the most words. Drag it over from left to right. If we center it on screen, we need a little bit more on the left side to give some room beyond that number. And again, drag it over to where it's centered. Now we're going to copy and paste this on top of the other 4 points until all of the text has been covered, and this is all aligned on the center. Once we have those all covered, we're going to do the trick where we hold on to one and then tap on each of the others so they're all selected. Go over here to opacity and drag it all the way to the right. Now, with all of those selected, we want to combine them so that it actually thinks it's one shape to help us with our next step. So over here, we'll go to arrange. And then we'll scroll down where it says combined shapes. We'll choose this one, which is unite, which even though they're not touching, it'll make them all combine into one shape. While that's still selected, with one finger on there, also tap the background that's green. Now go over here and we'll use that cut feature and it will cut holes in the green where all the black bars are. Like we said, we don't want to leave it green, so go over to Style, Fill, and simply choose White. Go back to Style, and this opacity should be up at 100%. You can tap off of there. Now we need to set the animation. For these, the animation is set with a magic move. For this last one, we'll tap on it, go over to Transition, and instead of magic move, we'll go down here to Add Transition, and we'll swipe over to Reveal. But we want it to go top to bottom instead of right to left. So we'll click on the slide, click on Reveal here at the bottom, change the direction. Instead of from right, it'll be from top, moving down. 0.75 is fine. You can see what that will look like by tapping the play button. Pulls that down, revealing the card behind it. And that's how we'll end our presentation. So go up here and click Done. And now that we have made all the changes we want, now that we have everything all set up, we can go up to the very first slide and go over here and delete it. And now your presentation should look like we demoed at the very beginning. Now you tap through your slides. Each bullet point slides up in that viewer window. The final one, they seem to all slide back down. Then you reveal all 5 of them to make your conclusion. On your iPad, this is what's called presenter controls. The top here can be a countdown clock or the actual clock time. On the left, you can tap on here and navigate to any slide you want to at any point in your presentation. Then tap off of it to get back. This is our current slide and notes. You can go over here and change it to just your current slide on the slide coming up next to kind of give you a preview. You can show both current and next slides, your current slide and your notes, your next slide and your notes, or your notes only if you want to. I like to use current and next or current and notes. Now, I like to show the animation on my screen here so I can see what the audience is seeing. If you have problems with your iPad running slow, you can turn this off, and that will just show you the slide itself. You can invert the colors if you want it to be white or black, depending on how your iPad is set up. You also have the option up here to click, and you can use the laser pointer and point things around your screen, or you can use your finger or an Apple Pencil and be able to animate your screen and clear things out when you're all done. Here's what it looks like as you're presenting. If you remember, we put those notes, which are showing up over here for each of those slides. So on our first point, the audience sees unleash your true colors, but what we see is unleash your true colors, be authentically you, quirks and all. Trust me, the real you is where the magic happens. My goal as a presenter would not be to have a script here that I'm going to try to read. I want to be looking at my audience and talking to them. But if I want to nail a specific line, bottom line, point, I put that in my notes to make sure that wherever I go while I'm talking, I hit that before I go on to the next slide. In each one of these, we see the animation, we have the notes there for us, we have our fifth point, our closing, then our concluding statement is there with the last slide. And that's how helpful the presenter controls are when using Keynote on your iPad. That's just one more way to create an alternative to bullet points. If you like this and want to learn more, I have the alternative for this on how to use it on Keynote on Mac. If you like the video, please give it a like. If you want to see more content when it comes out, please become a subscriber. Thanks a lot for checking out this video. I'll see you in the next one.